has free expression and everybody has the opportunity to be equally heard. I think that's one of the ways that you can do it. The other thing is doing some professional development with regards to travel, whether that's national conferences when we can afford them or state conferences, even just going to other community colleges. I know for a fact I've been involved with the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools as a site visitor. And I never leave another college without tucking a couple of ideas in my pocket to bring back. And so I think just getting faculty and staff that are out and providing them with the opportunity to actually collaborate with the colleagues around the state or the colleagues around the nation is one of the ways that you can get people thinking outside the box. Because you may not be able to actually copy a program at your home institution, but you can modify it, you can Stanley Community College-ize it, and that's, I think, what makes the difference.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. We have a growing athletic program on campus, and with that, a new fellowship of Christian athletes that's being developed on campus. How do you see that working with maintaining the separation of church and state, but still allowing that to exist and provide a service or support to the athletes?
With regards to the Fellowship for Christian Athletes, I see it as any of our other student groups that we have in place. And as long as we offer the opportunity for other groups who may not necessarily have that same slant or that same desire, then we're fine with regards to separation of church and state, in my opinion. I think that having equal opportunity for all students is important. It's interesting with regards to college athletics because I believe that athletics can be part of the environment that we establish at our community colleges in order to educate the entire student, so you're taking a holistic viewpoint. And in addition to that, the research that I have always been exposed to says that basically if you can recruit one athlete, that usually they'll bring 2, 3, or sometimes 4 friends with them. And so I think that it is an important part of what we offer to our students. Yes, ma'am.
Why Stanley County is drawn you to Stanley Community College?
Well, I talked to the board a little bit about this morning. And as I mentioned, I am from Vernon College originally. Well, actually I was born in Green Bay, Wisconsin. But I was searching for a lot warmer climate, and so when it was time to go to college, I actually moved to Texas. Some of you can understand that. It gets kind of cold out there where you walk outside and it just kind of takes your breath away. But what basically I have seen with regards to my career is I was at Vernon College, and I was there for 23 years. And my president at that point in time said, "You're ready, take that leap, you know, you're ready to go on to presidency." But I take being a president very seriously, and I wasn't necessarily 100% sure myself that I could translate the success that I had at Vernon College into a presidency. And so instead, I'd done my first accreditation visit to Gilbert Tech Community College, and I always remembered them as being this, beautiful little college tucked away in the woods. And so when they had a vice president of instruction open up, I contacted Dr. Cameron, applied for the position, and was lucky enough to receive that position. So this was my way of actually employing a litmus test. I'd been successful, but it had been at the same institution. I'd had a lot of different titles within that institution, a lot of different responsibilities, but I wanted to make sure that I could transfer that same knowledge, skills, and attitudes that I had into an environment that was vastly different from anything that I'd ever known. And Dr. Cameron knew about that coming in. He was looking for somebody, since they had been without an instructional administrator for a while. Things had kind of gotten off track, so he was looking for somebody who had some SACS knowledge. He wanted somebody with some distance education skills to actually get their program going. And, we said this is what this is all about. So one of the things that, and this is probably a longer answer than what you ever thought you were going to get, and I apologize for that, But one of the things that I learned along the way, yes, that litmus test was great. It did exactly what I wanted it to do. I am ready. But what it also taught me is it taught me about myself. And it taught me about the kind of institution that I want to be president of. And I want an institution that is more similar to Vernon College. And I'm looking for an institution basically where I can have those kinds of relationships with faculty and staff. I know their names. I know basically what's going on in their life, their children, their pets, whatever the case might be. I can get my arms around the mission of the institution. And that's not to say that Guilford Tech is not great, because it is, but it is huge. And in all honesty, it has probably taken me 3 years just to learn the names of a lot of the full-time faculty, and that's really not the environment that I'm looking for. So when I first basically heard about Stanley Community College and that you did have an opening coming up, you know, you listen to what's being said across the state, and of course you guys have an absolutely stellar reputation. And then you dig a little bit deeper, phenomenal faculty and staff, and that's evidenced by the critical success factors. By the way, congratulations on getting all 8, but that doesn't happen without a lot of hard work and a lot of dedicated folks. And then, you know, you start seeing more things that attract you. For example, I told the Board of Trustees this morning that I was very impressed with regards to the leap of faith that they've taken with the faculty and staff in offering the amount of distance education that's offered at Stanley, and that's one of my passions, so that's another reason. And then I looked at programming, and I also told the Board of Trustees this. You have 3 programs that I've always coveted as an instructional administrator that I would have liked to have had at the institutions that I've served as Chief Academic Officer. And so those were very impressive. I'm SACS qualified in order to teach in your Human Services program, and that means a lot to me because I enjoy being in the classroom. Being in the classroom keeps me connected with faculty, and it keeps me connected with our students, and that's so very important. But in all honesty, just the actual topography of the area. It reminds me a lot with regards to the lakes, the mountains of Wisconsin, but at the same time, there's also some Texas thrown in here too with regards to the wide open plains. So I knew landing in Guilford County that this was going to be, you know, a transitionary period for me. And at first it was really exciting, and I enjoyed it very much. But then after a while it gets a little bit old, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a place that I can establish now some roots. I'm looking for a community and for a college to embrace me just as I want to embrace that community and that college. And everything basically that I've learned about Stanley Community College has told me that you're that place for me. I was talking to a board member this morning, and I said, you know, sometimes when you scratch the surface, eventually you find something. I've not found anything. You guys are so solid with regards to what you're doing here, and I admire it very, very much. So it probably should have been a much shorter answer to why Stanley County, but that's the truth.
Okay.